Hey, welcome back. We're on lesson 5, part 2, modeling equations. Okay, so picture this as being a pan balance or a scale. Okay, so again, X is the triangles, and each of these circles is equal to 1 kilogram. And we do not know how much X weighs. So we know that we can write this as X plus 2, because it's on the same side, and then it's going to be equal to 7. Okay, now, in order to keep the scales balanced, we need to remove the same things from each side at the same time, right? So I would write this as X plus 2 minus 2, and then on the other side, 7 minus 2. And I can show this on here by getting rid of 2 from each side. Okay, and what is left, and I'm going to erase this so you can see this a little better now. Okay, so what is left is one triangle, so 1x, right? Which we know those will cancel, we know those will cancel each other out. So I'm left with x, and I'm left with 5. Okay, so we remove the circles from the left-hand side and an equivalent or same amount of circles from the right-hand side, and the triangle has the same mass as those 5 circles. Okay, so what I want to do here is I want to show an equation for these scales. So I want you to pause the video and I want you to do 2 things. You're going to show the equation for each scale. So the equation, and then I want you to solve the equation. So then I want you to solve it for both of those. Okay, so pause the video. Make sure you're not just watching, because doing is going to make you remember more. All right, so welcome back. Okay, so the equation for this is going to be, just going to get rid of this so I have some space to write here. All right, so the equation for this, I have 1x here, right, plus the 3, and that is going to be equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's 2 rows of 5, so that would be 10, right? Okay, so working backwards again like we've been doing, I'm going to minus the 3, and I'm going to minus the 3 from both sides. So I'm going to get rid of those, and I'm going to get rid of 3 of these. Okay, now what do I have left? I have 7 on this side, and I have the x on this side, and if I count, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So they are balanced. And so x is going to be equal to 7. Okay, and on the bottom here, I have x plus 4, and that's going to be equal to, and there's 10 there again. Okay, working backwards, I'm going to minus, I don't know why I wrote 3. I'm going to minus the 4, and I'm going to minus the 4, and so now these cancel each other out. 4 minus 4 is 0, right? So then I have the x, and that's going to be equal to 6. And if I wanted to show it, I would get rid of 4 of those and 4 of these, and it's left with 6. So I know that x is equal to 6. Okay, so now I want you to draw the scales for me. So draw the scales for these following equations, and then I want you to solve it. So again, make sure you're doing and not just watching. Doing is going to lead to you more understanding. Okay, so if I'm going to draw these scales here, I'm going to have a triangle here and 2 circles. And then on the other side of the scale, I'm going to have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I know that if I'm going to take away the 2 here and take away the 2 there, and I'm going to show this, okay, they need to remain balanced on both sides. So the n here, because it's just, it can be anything. It could be a z, it could be a y, right? That I'm representing with the triangle. And I know that this n is going to be equal to 6. And it shows that here as well. All right, so the next one, I'm going to draw it a little further down here. So I got a triangle here, and then I've got 1, 2, 3, and that's on one side of the scale. And then on the other side of the scale, I have 10. Okay, now I know working backwards, I'm going to subtract the 3 from both sides, and that's going to leave me with 7. So n is equal to 7. And I can show that and prove this to you by crossing 3 out from both sides, and my n here is equal to 7. All right, and then working over here, my scale, so I have my triangle there with 5 circles, and on the other side, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, there we go. Now, I am going to work backwards, so we're undoing what we did. Okay, so I'm subtracting the 5. The n is going to be equal to 4. Okay, so getting rid of the 5 here and getting rid of the 5 there, and the n is equal to 4. Okay, so looking at these here, again, I want you to write the equations that represent these scales. So just a little extra practice. And if you are not understanding, you definitely need to come to the help session. So pause the video again. All right, so here, how many triangles do I have? So I have 3 triangles, and they're equal to, because it's balanced, so there's 10 there, and then there's 2 more, so that gives me 12. Okay, now I want to see how much one triangle is equal to. So I am going to divide this side by 3, okay? And when I divide that side by 3, okay, so 3 divided by 3 is going to be equal to 1. So these are going to go away. And I'm going to divide this side by 3. So these are broken into groups with 1 inside. So like when we do 3 divided by 3, if I was going to draw this out like we did when we were little, right? Each person gets 1 in each group. That's exactly what we just did there. All right, now I'm going to divide 12 into 3 equal groups. I'm just going to get rid of this here. All right, so dividing this into 3 equal groups. So 1, 2, and 3. So I'm divided that by 3. So what do I have left? So I have 3 groups, but I want to know how many are in each group. So I'm going to only look at one group. And how many are in that group? 4 is in that group. So I know that x is equal to 4. All right, down here, we're going to do this again. So I have 2x, and that is going to be set equal again to 12. Okay, now what I'm saying is I'm going to divide by 2, so I'm going to have 2 equal groups. For this one, So I want to know how many are in each group. So I am only looking at the 1. So this is going to go away. And so I have x, and that is going to be equal to, now I'm going to divide these into even groups. So I'm splitting this in half because I'm dividing by 2. Okay, this, I'm only going to look at one of those halves. So this goes away, and I know that my answer is going to be 6. So x is equal to 6. So they remain equal on both sides. Okay, so looking at this example here, this is going to be my last example. What is the equation here? Well, the equation here is 5x, which is equal to 10. Okay, now I have a question for you. Okay, so you have 5 triangles balancing 10 circles, right? So I'm going to tell you a little story. I have 3 students, and I asked them all to write an equation that demonstrates having 1/5 of the triangles balancing 1/5 of the circles. Okay, and each student wrote a different equation. So that is going to be represented here. Okay, I want you to solve the original equation so you know what the answer for x is. And then I want you to answer this and be able to defend it. So I have put this in the discussion board. You will go to the discussion board or the forum that's on Moodle in math, and I want you to post your answer in where your group is. So find your name and post your answer in there. Okay, that's it for today. Thank you guys for coming.